So let me introduce myself, right? As I told you, my name is Amit Pandey, and these are the certifications that I currently hold. It's ComSci Plus, right? Then there's Network Plus, that's the Security Plus, which is a very bigness defensive course, right? If it teaches you about how to defend your particular infrastructure, your laptop, your phone, right? All of these things. Okay. So the Security Plus is one of the concept, one of the certificate where we talk about how to protect our infrastructure. Okay, and CH is all about how to hack into it. So I'm certified into that particular part as well. Then the Cloud Plus, then AWS Cloud Practitioner. I have a I have kind of a specialty in cloud as well. I teach cloud. Fine. So I have Cloud Practitioner, Cloud Solution Architect, and there is a very advanced course which is called AWS Security Specialty. I'm certified into that particular part as well. Okay. Okay, so these are the certification AWS Machine Learning and Azure 900. So these are some of the certificates that I have been. Fine. Okay, and I have more than 3+ years of experience into this particular domain of cybersecurity part. Fine. Okay, perfect. And this is about the organization InfosecTrain. We are working from 2016. We are established and we have multiple clients, right? We have, you know, like trusted clients are the SBI, the India's largest bank and the world third largest bank. There's also our client, fine, and it's Indian Air Force and plenty other renowned organization are our clients as well, fine. So these are the trusted clients we have in place. Okay, so this is the agenda for this particular webinar. So definitely this webinar is divided into 4 days, right? Okay, this complete webinar. So the first day, today is the first day, and today we are going to talk about this thing. So these are the things we have in place, and that is overview of offensive security. So what actually offensive security means, then we have, when we talk about the attacker's mindset, because this particular webinar is focused upon offensive side, the hacking, right? That's all talk about. Then what are the ethical things, ethical consideration, because we are not the bad actors. Okay, we are the legitimate one. We are the good hackers. Help, we hack to help the organization to find out the vulnerabilities, what's wrong in the system. And when we came up with a conclusion, okay, that this is a particular thing that is wrong in your particular respective organization, what you can do is that you can just patch it up. That's the thing we can have. Okay, then there's a very interesting thing we have in place which is called by the name of OSINT. I'm going to show that thing to you as well, right? Okay, right. So this is an OSINT we have in place. So I will be providing you with an OSINT, a practical hands-on thing, which will be clarifying a lot of things for you. And then we are going to talk about a DNS enumeration and Google hacking we have in place, right? And then social engineering. We will be talking about that particular part as well. Fine. So these are the topics for today. Okay, perfect. So let's get started. The first thing is overview of the offensive security. So first of all, guys, you need to understand what is actually an offensive security. In the world of cyber security, two things you are going to learn a lot, right? I would say to you can hear a lot. The two things are offensive security and another one is the defensive security. Offensive security, from today onwards, ever you, in any sort of an article or any sort of a conversation you hear about offensive part, it means hacking. I want to hack into your respective systems, right? So that is part of offensive security. It means, let's say for example, I'm let's say there is a Microsoft, okay? Microsoft or Amazon is there. They pay me, okay, be a pen tester or any kind of ethical hacker to hack into their particular systems, as we have heard about something, bug bounty thing. Okay, that's big bug bounty. What we do is that the good hackers try to hack into the respective systems of the organization. And what really happens is if they are successful in doing that, they're finding out the vulnerabilities, the bugs, they are rewarded with it. Fine, that is what an bug bounty is. That's part of the offensive security. In offensive security, in short, we hack into the systems. Okay, that's what offensive security is all about. How to bypass firewall, how to bypass IDS and IPS. Okay, all these things, right, that we look deep dive into, that without any sort of an alert, how I can hack into a system, how I can go into your respective system, steal the credentials, steal your private pictures, all these things. Fine. Okay, that is the offensive security. right? And one more thing is that in the field of cybersecurity, we have two kinds of teams: red team and the blue team. Red team is again that team. In that team, multiple people are there and they try to hack into a particular system. Okay. And blue team is that particular group of people who try to protect your particular devices or your organization from any sort of a hack. Fine. That's the thing. Okay. Perfect. Now let's understand the attacker mindset, which is very, very crucial. Okay, because you need to understand that not all the hackers are bad. Fine, this kind of a perception in public that if you are a hacker you are bad, yeah, you're doing some sort of a crime, you're stealing an information. That is absolutely incorrect. Okay, or we have different kind of an hackers in place, right? We have white hat hackers, blue hat hackers, black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, and script kiddies, right? Multiple different classes of hackers we have in place. So I'm not going to deep dive into it, but just an overview that mostly there are two type of hackers: black hat hackers and white hat hackers. White hat hackers are the good people we have in place. What they do, they hack for the good. Let's say, for example, I am myself a white hat hacker. I will hack into a particular organization, right? And what I will do, I will find out the vulnerabilities, what are the problems, where are the loopholes in their network, in their architecture, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to report that particular vulnerability to that organization and help them to patch it up. That is what a white hat hacker is. That's a good hacker. But here we are going to talk about the actual, that bad hat hacker. Black hat hacker is that kind of a particular person. What he does is that he hacks into a particular system, steals the critical information, and he uses the loopholes, goes into a system, steal your private pictures, fine, and sell it over the dark web. That is a black hat hackers, and we should be absolutely aware about them. Okay, that's the thing. So let's understand what is the mindset of these black hackers we have in place, right? Because if we understand what's their that mindset is, then only we will be able to resolve it out. Fine. Okay, so first thing I would say would be the motive, right? The first thing we have in is the motive. That what is the motive of a attacker? Okay, so first thing is that what is the motive of the attackers? So if there is an attack going on or there is an attacker, what is his motive? To steal the data? Very good, right? What he can do, he can encrypt your information like in the ransomware. What happens? That is the motive. He wants to take a revenge. Okay, that's what things are. He's not happy with the organization. Okay, that's the thing. So what he can do is that he can hack into the system, encrypt your information, take the information, sell it online. Plenty of things are there. Fine. And then next thing is that the technique. We have to understand the technique as well. That's also the part of understanding the attacker's mindset. Fine. What are the technique that he is using up? Fine, that what kinds of tools he is using, what are kind of technique he's using. Like for example, if there is a hacker and what technique he uses, that he keep on sending malicious links to the multiple organizations. Okay, and those people are not very aware about the cyber world and this hacking and all these things. They click into it, a ransomware or a trojan or any sort of a malware gets downloaded into their respective system, and they are in absolutely big trouble for that, due to that particular issue. And I've seen that by myself, that people, particularly in the sales department and the marketing department, they are not very much aware about all these things, boss. Okay, like people who are in IT, they are at some point in time they are aware about these kind of a scenario in place. So that's the thing. So okay, so first thing is motivation. We have to find it out, the motivation of the attacker. Okay, and the second is the technique that the attacker has used. Okay, and the tools as well. There are multiple tools we can use. Let's say for example, there is a tool which is called by the name of metasploitable. There is another tool which is called by the name of nmap. Okay, and plenty other tools we have in place. So attackers use these tools and techniques, right? So that's the thing. And another thing we have to look for is the collaboration. In today's digital world, what really happening is that now the attackers are not attacking individually. They are attacking in a collaboration. One attacker would be sitting in Russia, another one would be sitting in the Brazil, another one would be sitting in India, and another would be sitting in the China. And these four would be combining together their resources, their experience, and performing a attack, let's say somewhere in US or in Japan. Right? That's a collaborative effort they are doing it. So that's all these things are. There plenty of things could be, but I have told you guys only three things, three important mindset. The first is the motivation. What is the motivation behind them? The technique tools they use, and the collaborative efforts if there is a collaboration. Okay. And sometime also one more thing is that sometime what really happens is that the government back these hackers. Okay. If let's say for example two countries are at war with each other, so what really happens is that what the government would be backing a group of hackers and with millions of dollars, and those group of hackers what they will be doing is that or they will be hacking into their enemy country. Okay, that kind of things also take place in today's world. Fine. The internet is full with the articles, right, that this country tried to hack into another country's elections and this and that, right? That's the thing we have in place. Okay, now let's talk about ethical consideration and offensive security information gathering and reconnaissance. What it means is that, see boss, in offensive security you are hacking into someone else at the end of the day. Okay, I am a hacker, and if your organizations pay me for it, right, so I will be coming to your respective organization, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come to your organization and I will be try to hack into a particular organization server. Okay, and if there is a kind of a thing, then what I'm going to do is that, right, okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to hack into a particular system in place. I'm going to find out all the port which are open, right? Which are useless ports, which are the, I would say, first thing that many people do the mistake, right? The unnecessary ports that are open. Okay. So I will hack into a particular system, find out the loopholes. Is there is any sort of a loopholes in the operating system that you're using up? Okay. Those kind of things we have in place. Okay. Perfect. Fine. Okay, so those kind of things can happen here, but what really happens is I'm not a bad guy boss. I'm doing is that my job is that your organization has hired me, and what I'm trying to do is that I'm going to provide my services and my and use my skills to find out loopholes in your respective organization, and then report to your respective organization that boss, this is the kind of vulnerabilities and these are the problems that I have seen in your particular respective server, and I would request you that you patch it as soon as possible. Otherwise, what is going to happen is that those loopholes would be, the black hat hackers, the bad guys, they are going to use those loopholes to hack into a particular organization, and that would be catastrophic for your organization. Okay, so there are some ethics because I'm a good hacker. Okay, so definitely for sure, I have some ethics, right? So what I'm going to do is that there are certain ethics that I need to follow. So, what differentiate a good hacker from a bad hacker are the ethics that have. A good hacker like me has some ethics. I found a vulnerability as a good gentleman. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to report it to the respective organization and help them as well to resolve it as soon as possible. If there is a unnecessary port open, fine. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to report it and then help the organization to patch it. I'm not going to use it and hack into the you know the organization and steal the private pictures of the employees of the organization. That would be a very creepy thing. That would be a very bad thing, right? That is the thing we have in place. Okay, perfect. So what are the different things we have in place? What are the ethics, right? First is the scope. Okay, in the world of hacking, right, particularly when you try to hack into an organization, they give you a scope, right? Okay, so what is the scope you have in place? Okay, why it's so dry. Okay, so what really happened here is this: you have the scope in place, right? So scope set what's the boundaries, which server you can hack into and which server you cannot hack into. Fine, that is a limitation that are given. Let's say, for example, there are 4 servers in an organization. Fine, there could be plenty. Let's say for your simplicity, I'm taking only phone server A, B, and C. Perfect. Now, what really happened, boss? That you know there are 4 servers, okay, and then the organization tells us, right? So what really happened here is this: that there are 4 servers in your respective organization, and the organization says to us that you does not need to hack into all of our system in place, right? That is not the thing you have to place, that you does not need to hack into all the servers. We are concerned only about the 2 servers that you have, right? That is the scope they are setting up, that the boundary. So as a good hacker, as an ethical hacker, I'm going to follow that particular guideline provided by the organization. The organization say what? The organization says to me, Amit, that you only need to hack into these 2 PCs that is present, that has been provided to you. So as a good gentleman, as a good hacker, I'm going to follow that respective ethics in place. Okay, fine. So that's what we talk about in ethical consideration. Fine. And another one is the consent. If there is any kind of a consent is there, if is there is any kind of a thing we have in place. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to approach the organization and I'm going to say that, okay, it looks like this is an employee, and in this particular system there is some kind of a malicious file, but because this laptop is the actual owner of this laptop is an employee, so I want his particular respective consent so I can run a scan through it particular system, okay, and find out if there is any kind of a malware or a malicious software present in a system. And okay, that's the thing. Okay, so these are some of the limitations we have in place, or I would say ethics in place. Okay, now the interesting thing, guys, we have in which is called by the name of OSINT. Very important. As an ethical hacker, this is going to be one of my first approach. Fine. Let's say, for example, if organization X or Y approaches me and says to me, Amit, that this is an organization and what I need to do is that I need you to perform a hacking attempt in an organization. Okay, try to hack as much as you can. So this OSINT would be my first step in place, right? Okay, this is it. Fine. So this is we have in place. OSINT is okay. So OSINT is open source intelligence. What it does in OSINT is that if is any kind of information which is publicly available, what we can do is that in the OSINT boss, we can get that particular piece of an information, right? And we are good with it, right? Let's say, for example, there is a target. Okay, I have a target in place. Fine. Okay, now what really happen is that I want to gather as much information about this particular target as possible. So what really happens in today's world, where are the different where are the different places where I can gather information about a particular person in place, right? Okay, okay, so what really happens is that, let's say, for example, an organization says to me, Amit, there is, there are multiple, let's say, for example, 100 employees in our respective organization. Try to hack into organization. Okay, uh, right? So there are 100 employees in my organization. Try to hack into it and gather information as much as possible. Okay. So what I'm going to do, first approach is going to be OSINT. Any hacker around the globe, right? His first attempt would be this thing, OSINT. In OSINT, guys, what we do is that in OSINT, so yeah, in OSINT, what really happens is that we gather as much information about the particular target in place. So let's say, for example, there is a particular person employee, okay, and I want to gather as much information about him. So there are what are the multiple places where we can gather information? First is Instagram, right? Then there's Facebook, okay, and Twitter as well, right? And plenty other social media platforms. Fine. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to hack into a particular Instagram account, or I'm going to act like I'm his old friend and going to send him a request, and there's a huge possibility that he or she is going to accept my request if I impersonate myself, or I act like I'm his old student, right? I'm his I would say not student, I'm his colleague, I'm his friend of 5 to 6 or 5 or 6 grade. So there's a possibility, I've seen that people falling into this particular trap. Okay, that there is a friend request that you get from some unknown particular person, and he says to you that accept my request, and we are old friends, right? Way back when we were in college, we used to be good colleagues, and you just accept it out, fine. Once I'm into his Instagram account, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to scan through it and go through the each and every picture in place and gather as much information about that particular individual, like where his office is, where he or she previously used to visit, right? If they have visited recently in any restaurant for any dinner, right, with the family, and they have uploaded a picture in the Instagram, now I have the information about all the family members, right, and which restaurant they have visited to. All these kind of information are publicly available. I can get those kind of thing here. Okay, that what happens in OSINT, open source intelligence. And remember, it is absolutely ethical to have to do the OSINT part, because the information is already available. You're not doing anything else. You're not hacking into a system in place, right? So gathering information, going through the internet, finding out that particular piece of information is absolutely genuine. Fine, that's it. Okay, that's called the open source intelligence in place. Perfect. Let me show you guys a small demonstration. There are two images that I have in place for you guys. Okay, just give me a minute. So there are two images, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to display one image, and then what I'm going to do is we are going to collect the information about those two images in place. Okay, that's the thing. Let's say, for example, this is an image we have in place, right? Okay, so now what really happens is I need to gather as much information about this particular image, about this particular building in place, this long building that you're seeing right now in front of you. I want to gather as much information about it. Okay, so how to do that? I'm going to use OSINT. Fine. Okay, let's do that. Let's collect as much information about this particular building in place, what its actual location, where it is located, and all these kind of things, then in which country it is located, and all this kind of thing. I can figure it out, the history of it, and this it. Okay, so how to do that? Okay, all you need to do is that you need to go to the Google image, right? You just need to go to the Google image, right? And now in the Google image, what you need to do is that you need to upload this particular image in place. Fine, I'm going to do that. I'm going to upload it up. Okay, as you can see that in front of your screen, it has provided me a little bit of an information that it is Empire State Building we have in place. Okay, so if I just click into the, let's search into it. Okay, let's click into the search part. Oh, sorry, click into the find source image, right? It's going to tell me the source of it as well. Okay, so these are some of the articles it is providing me. Let's click into it. So there is a website with the name of Timeout, and it is this is the actual origin source of this particular website that this image we have in place, right? And it comes into the article, it's 18 most famous building and monument in the US. You scroll down and here you will see, okay, let's scroll down and figure it out where it is. This is this, right? Empire State Building in New York. Okay, and they have this particular thing, the most recognized skyscraper in the world. It was erected in 1920s and has been a mobile tourist destination ever since, right? So this is how I performed the OSINT. Okay, exact same thing. What I can do is that I can do it for a employee as well. If, let's say, for example, many people nowadays have a habit, and what they do in their respective personal life, I would say as well, they keep on posting their personal files and a photo, pictures in over the Instagram, over the social media, right? If they're working on a particular project in place, they will be clicking a photo of there is offsite they are going on, right? They're revealing a lot of information. Okay, so with just a simple OSINT, what I can do is that I can gather as much information about a particular employee. Okay, that is also a reality in today's world. So anything, any picture profile that you are posting on the social media, be aware about it. Be aware about the fence you have there. Okay, because many people has kind of a mentality that more the follower is, and these celebrities, what they do is that they have this huge following of millions and all these things, and they also have the habit, I have also seen many celebrities across the globe, they keep on uploading their personal files, pictures over the internet. And that's why the celebrities are such a big target for the hackers, because a lot of the information about them are already available over the internet. Okay, like which restaurant they visited, and which kind of car they have recently brought, which department they have recently brought, and all these kind of thing, and they themselves clicks a picture selfie and just post it over the internet, right? And that's why the more information of your personal life and the professional life is present over the internet, the more problem you are going to be in, because at the end of the as a hacker by myself, I'm going to use that particular piece of an information, and I'm going to use it against you, boss. Okay, I'm going to impersonate as your friend. Okay, I'm going to impersonate as your bank manager, something like that, and I'm going to make sure that you fall into that particular trap, and it would not be a very good thing for you, right? I've seen, let's say for example, in a respective organization I was recently visited 2 months back, and I've seen that in corporate world there's a policy we follow, which is in cybersecurity, which is called by the name of clean desk policy. It means that in your particular desk in your office, what you need to do is that you need to make sure that everything that you have in there in your particular desk, please, it should be clean. There should be no sticky notes, right? And if there is a sticky notes, no critical information should be present in that sticky notes, like for example your username and a password. That should not be there at any cost. Okay, because what can happen is that there could be a colleague, he could be passing by and he can see that there is a sticky note and a password is written into it, and he can use it and again hack into a particular system in place, and then you are in big trouble. Okay, so that's what we have in place, which is the OSINT part. Fine. Okay, that's the thing. So yeah, this is one part. It, let me show you another image in place. Okay, this OSINT, you can get a lot of information about a particular person through the OSINT, boss. A lot of information. The time the photo was taken, right? The country, the origin, the hotel, the street. Okay, all the particular people in the image, the information can be also taken, right? Who they are, right? What connection you have with them? Are they family members or are they your colleague? Okay, those kind of things can be done. Fine. Okay, let me show you just another image in place. Just give me a minute. Okay, so this is an image I have in, right, of a giraffe. All right. So I have absolutely no idea where this particular image was taken and what it is all about, right? But still using the OSINT, there is no clue that what is the date, what is the time, who is the actual owner, right? Nothing. Okay, but still I'm, let's see what kind of information I can gather from this particular thing when I perform OSINT, open source intelligence. Let's see what kind of information I can gather about this respective you know, a image in place. Fine. Okay, let's do that. Either you can use Google image, or there are multiple other search engine as well, right? There you can use Bing as well for this reverse search engine, or Mozilla is also there, right? You can use any of it. Okay, I'm uploading it up. Let's see. Okay, I want to find out. They are telling me that it's all about the giraffe. I don't want that kind of information, boss, right now. What I need to do is that I need to find out the image source. Okay, okay, there is someone, right? I get a lot of information, a lot of website about it, some Instagram accounts as well, right? Which will lead me to this particular image in place. Okay, so there is the Guardian article. Okay, let's click into this. It's 10 days back. Okay, yes, I'm happy. Okay, let's see the week in wildlife picture. Okay, the best week's wildlife photography. And let's scroll. Let's see. Okay, this may resembles, right? A giraffe walking in open grass as Kenya Wildlife Service veterans fit them with solar-powered GPS tracking device in Masai Mara Game Reserve in Naroi country, Kenya. Okay, so a lot of things you have gathered information about this particular picture in place. This is the photographer name, okay, and this is the particular organization where he works. Fine. So a lot of information where the actual picture was taken, who is the photographer, and what I need to do is that now this particular photographer, I will be definitely for sure, because he's a photographer, I will assume that he has an Instagram account. Fine. Now what I'm going to do is that will be going to the Instagram, and I will be, because definitely for sure I will be start following him, and then by that also I will be getting a lot of information about him, right? Which country he's in recently visited, which project he's currently working, because many of these celebrities have this kind of the craving, right, for the attention, that they keep on posting their personal life, their kid photos, right, their family members photos over the internet. Okay, and that could lead you to in some big trouble. Okay, so this is the thing. This is just a small glimpse of an OSINT. If you want to dig deep dive into it, in OSINT we have something which is called by the name of OSINT framework. OSINT framework. This is what it is. OSINT framework, right? Okay, so this is what is an OSINT framework. Let's see. Perfect. Let's say, for example, I have a photo of my particular someone. Okay, I want to hack into or gather as much information about someone. Okay, so I will be clicking into what? I will be clicking into image. Let me increase the size of it. I have an option of image, video, stocks. I click into it and it provided me whether image, video, webcam, document, or a font. I click into the image part because I have the image of the target, right? At the end of the day, I have the image of the target. So search, Instagram, Flickr, metadata, forensic OCR tools. I click into the search part and see these are the different search engines that are present, which I can use to scan through the internet and verify the origin of that particular website or that particular image in place, right? Okay, so there is a Google image that I have shown you guys. There's Bing image, there's Yahoo, there's Tiny Eye reverse image search, there's Yandex. This Yandex, trust me, is very famous. Okay, this is very used a lot by the professionals which do the OSINT on a daily basis. This Yandex. Okay, then there's Baidu, there's Twitter search image, right? Photo bucket, and plenty of them are present there. Okay, if you want to search for a video, if let's say for example you have a video of a particular person and you want to gather as much information about the particular person as can, you click into the video part and you have search or analyze a record. I want you to click to the search part, and these are again those search Google videos, right? Bing videos. So you click into it, you upload that particular piece of video into it, Google will be and reverse search, doing a reverse search and providing you, if it is present in the database, that's the condition. If in the database they have this particular image or video, they are going to tell you the origin of that thing. Okay, so you can see all these things are there. So how easy it is. It's called OSINT framework, right? People search engine, dating, telephone number, public record, geolocation, map, search engine, language translation, and plenty of things, right? So this is the thing we have in place. Okay, that's called the OSINT framework. Perfect. If I just give you a real life scenario by myself, right, and how dangerous this OSINT can be, one of my friend, he recently visited some part of the country, okay, some part of the world, I would say, and he was posing in front of a very famous, bridge. Fine. But the thing was that he was posting up in the college group, and he was, you know, uh, he was not telling us the location where he visited and all this kind of thing, but he posted up an image there in the WhatsApp group of the, all the people who have the friends group. Okay, but because of most of my colleagues are in the cybersecurity, some of them done the OSINT of it, and they were able to reveal everything about him, the day, the time the picture was taken, the location of it, okay, where that particular bridge name is, all these kind of information, it was provided to him. So this is how dangerous it could be. So very cautious from now onward. Be very cautious about the thing that you post over the internet, over, over the net. Fine. Because there are people, there are bad actors, and what they are going to do is that they are going to go to a particular image and going to use that particular public image against you. So you should have a control what kind of information you are making it online, you are making it public. It should not be a case that it should be used against you. So very, very aware about it, right? So it is publicly available. Any sort of information, this every sort of information is publicly available. So when you go to the Google and provide it in the image, what they do is that they do a reverse search and give you this particular image in place. Okay, so it's free of cost. You does not need to spend a single penny here. Okay, very thing. And if you go to the YouTube and type the OSINT, you will see many people. They are so pro in this OSINT boss. They what they do is that they Jenny, I would still say if you are posting a picture, anything in the private mode, but still very be cautious about it because the friends are present there, they still can see that particular photo. And what can happen is that if any of your friend accounts get hacked, now the hackers through your particular friend can creep through your particular photos. That is also a thing. Okay. So be very cautious about posting up photos there as well in your private. If you're making your account private, still very cautious about it. Okay. Perfect. So this is an OSINT we have in place. Be very cautious about it, right? Then we have something which is called DNS enumeration. Okay, right? DNS is a very important thing we have in place. Correct. So DNS is something which is called by the name of domain name system. Okay, and what happens in the DNS is that it matches your domain name to your IP address. Let's say, for example, let's give an example that uh, Google is there. Okay, so you're correct, correct, Virat. Okay, it converts your domain name, not I would say not google.com, but it converts your domain name to your IP address. That would be a correct definition, but yeah, correct, Virat. Okay, so what really happens is that it converts your domain name to your IP address in place. So what, let's say for example, there is google.com. Okay, your website does not understand, or sorry, your computer does not understand what is google.com. He has absolutely no idea. The computer, the machine, they only understand something which is called the IP address. IP address is what? This IP address that right now in front of your screen, you're seeing that it is 216.3.128.12, right? So IP address is kind of a unique number that is being provided to a particular machine who is connected over the internet. So let's say for example, all of the people who are right now in this session including me, has each and every one of you has a IP address. Fine. Okay, through that the internet is able to verify, that where Amit is. Okay, that's the thing. And through that, if I want to send a particular message in place, or I want to receive a message, so that IP address really help me in getting that particular part, right? Okay, perfect. Now what really happens in this particular before going to DNS enumeration, DNS part. So in DNS short, what it does, it matches your IP address to your domain name. Okay, so what really happens if there is particular, I type in my particular web browser google.com. So my system does not understand what is google.com. So what is going to go? He is going to my DNS. In the DNS, he is going to figure it out what's the IP address of google.com, and then he is going to go to that particular respective IP address and then take my query as well. Fine. And then take a return, then whatever information he want to fetch, he takes that particular thing back and give it to me. Okay, that's what we have in place. Because, and why this is so, the most, there can be plenty of reason why this is a important thing. One of the very important, very basic example I give my student is that uh, humans are very bad at remembering the number. Okay, if someone says to me, instead of google.com, Amit, you have to remember the public IP of it. Okay, then I have to remember 216.3.128.12 every single day, every single time I have to type this particular thing in place, and it's not a good idea, right? It would be a very tremendous, very difficult job for me. Every service you have an IP address, your Instagram account, your Twitter, your Facebook, every website has an IP address. But you can think by yourself as well, how many of you remember a IP address of any of the website? We do not, right? Because DNS does that particular thing on our behalf. Otherwise, what would happen is that I have to remember the IP address of an Instagram account, then I have to remember the IP address of a Facebook, then InfosecTrain. It would be a very, very difficult job for us, right? So DNS really helps us in resolving that particular issue in place. Fine. Okay, that is what we have in, which is called DNS part. Okay, now comes the enumeration. Okay, so what is actually an enumeration, boss? Enumeration means collecting information. Okay, right? So it means that if there is a DNS of an organization, let's say for example there is an InfosecTrain. So I want to gather a lot of information about the InfosecTrain, right? As much as I can about its domain name, right? Who is a certificate provider? When is that certificate going to expire? Okay, so let if I talk about certificate. Okay, so certificate is every website, every legitimate website has something which is called by the name of digital certificate in place, right? Every website we have which is called the digital web certificate. That digital certificate help us in building up a trust that this particular website is legitimate. Okay, so it really helpful for us. It help us in building up a kind of a trust that this particular website is not being hacked, it is legitimate, it is good there. Okay, that's what we have in place. Okay, so DNS what really does is maps your IP address to your this domain name. As you can see in the image as well, this is an IP address that you have in place and this is a domain name, so it matches. It could be Google. So I type Google, right? And it will be going to this particular IP address, okay? In the backend. It everything happens in the backend as well, right? It's very helpful. And if I get a reply, it will going to back here as well. Okay. So it's very important. In enumeration, what we do, we gather information about it. About, let's say, for example, the domain name DNS is there. Let's say, for example, my domain is google.com. Okay, or yeah, let's say, for example, it is Google. Okay, so let's say for example there is Google, okay, or let's say for example there is domain.com. Now what really happened in this particular scenario is that I want to gather as much information about this domain controller, boss. I want to know what his digital certificate is, who is the certificate provider, because at the end of the day, let's say for example, let me show you the digital certificate first of all. Okay, it's also very important. Let's say for example, if I just remove it up, right, there's a very good organization which is called by the name of Comshare, which provide a very good certificate which by the name of Security Plus, right? It's a defensive side. How to protect your particular infrastructure. Okay, entry level one. Okay, so here you can see that here I have a lock, right? I click into it and it's saying connection is secure. Fine. And here is certificate as well. See, in front of your screen, guys, you are seeing a certificate, a digital certificate. What a digital certificate is? Digital certificate is like a proof that this particular website is a legitimate one, right? Okay, that's the thing. So Hitesh, what you can do is that in DNS enumeration, what's the relation between? With DNS enumeration, you can gather a lot of information about the DNS, right? Different subdomains, what are the certificate provider. So that's what I'm talking about. Fine. That who is a certificate provider of that particular thing, of the domain. All these things you can gather up here as well. Fine. In enumeration means gathering more information about the target. So you have the domain of your particular hacker. Let's say, for example, nasa.com is there. Okay, I want to hack into the nasa.com is there, fine, and I want to do enumeration. It means that I want to gather as much information about NASA as well. What are the subdomains we have in place? What is the certificate provider? Is any certificate provided to the NASA? All this kind of thing I will be gathering as much as well, and based upon the feedback that I get, the information that I'm going to collect, I will be able to craft my attack upon NASA, right? Or I would say NASA website. That's the thing. So this is right now in front of you. You have a certificate in place. Many people across the globe has multiple names for it. Them some say SSL certificate. If you go by the Security Plus in certificate, there's a concept which is called by the name of certificate chaining. Okay, okay, yeah, absolutely, Chaitanya. That's correct. Okay. So let's say, for example, there is certificate chaining in that we have in place, which is called, and there we call this particular certificate as the leaf certificate. Okay, both name are correct. SSL certificate or the leaf certificate. Perfect. Okay, so what the certificate does is that yes, we can assume that, Akshay. Okay, we assume that I would say 99% of the time, if a website has the digital certificate, it is safe. Okay, and it is most of the time it is in the back end, it is the responsibility of your particular web browser to figure it out that whether this particular thing is safe to go or not. Right, there is a long mechanism in the back end that helps the private key and the public key exchange that take place. Not going to that particular part because it's a very big concept. P key I talked about, public key infrastructure. Not going to that particular part. But really what happens is that, let's say, for example, if there would be a website and that particular website does not has a digital certificate. So what can happen is that I type that particular website, let's say, for example, xyz something.com, and that particular website does not have a digital certificate. Now what really happens is that, correct, Sajendra, correct, right? It's about all about gathering information about your target. It's absolutely the first step on hacking. Okay, or first or second step we can say that's as much information we gather it about the particular target in place. Correct. Okay. Now what really happens here is this, that we, let's say, for example, there is a website and you're visiting a website, and I guarantee that you have seen a particular pop-up in Google Chrome, particularly in Mozilla as well, that this website is not secure. That kind of notification message, have you guys seen ever in your particular Google Chrome ever, that this particular website is not secure? That is shows that in the back end, okay, that shows, boss, that this particular website is not safe to go. Fine. Okay, so definitely for sure really give us a peace of mind that this particular website is what it is, legitimate one. It is not malicious, it is not been compromised, because in the world of uh, hackers, sites can be cloned within minutes. I would say a complete full-fledged website can be cloned. Okay, fine, that's what we have in place. Okay, perfect. So this is the thing. So in DNS enumeration, what we do, we gather information about it as much as possible, as much as you can do it up. Okay. So there is a many organization, many tools we have. There's a one of the famous one tools or website, and one is who is, right. So who is information, we can gather information about it, a lot of information about it, right. Okay. Let's say, for example, there is a in the enter domain name IP address, I have to enter testfire.net. Okay, this is the thing, and I enter who is. Okay, I can see registration, registered on, expired on, updated on, status, named server, city, and administrative contact, all these things I can see. See, phone number is not disclosed, so you can also not disclose it is up, right? That's the thing. Okay, so you can gathering as much information about that particular website. A lot of things are there, right? We're not going to go deep into it, but this is the thing you can do. You can enter IP address or the domain name, and these kind of information would be provided to you, the registered on, expired on, all this kind of thing we have in place. Fine. Okay, do not do it for a legitimate website. Okay, this could be illegal. Fine. This DNS enumeration for a legitimate website. Okay, perfect. This particular website that I have shown you guys right now, this testify.net is a dummy website, right? Okay, so you can perform it into it. Perfect, right? That's what we talk about in DNS animation. Fine, just an overview. Now comes a very interesting part we have in place, which is called the Google hacking, or we also say particularly Google Docs as well. Let's say, for example, if I open my Google, right? I just open it up and wait a minute. Okay, this is it. Fine. If I type something, okay, right, I'm getting this. If I'm typing Akshay, I'm getting this many results, right? There's a celebrity with the name Akshay Kumar, but I'm still getting, see, these many results I'm getting. But I does not need that. From a hacker point of view, what I'm trying to teach you guys in the Google Doc is that we can specify these thing as completely a garbage, right? This is not my target. My target is some other Akshay. So what I can do is that I can use these Google Docs in place. This Google Docs, right? I'm just give you just a sample of it, that how big of a shoe can it could be. Fine. Let me just open up the once again, right? Okay, let me down here once again. So now what I'm going to do is that here it is. Now I'm see. Normally it is providing me these many right results. I don't want that. It's completely garbage for me. I want complete information about my specifically my target only, boss. So what I do is that I type something which is called in URL and hit enter. Now this you can see that the result has decreased, right? Only the information that I want, I am able to get it up. Fine. See, this thing that you're seeing right now in front of you, let me show that thing to you as well. This is called, this upper part is called the URL. This one, this Akshay Kumar or this Akshay Kumar right at the end, this one part is called your title, and this information is called the extra information that you have in place, it is called the text. Okay, so these are this how you can break it down. The first part is called the URL, this upper part, the lower part is called the title, and then this information, extra information which is provided to you, it is called the text about that particular person. Without going inside it, you can get a lot of information about it. Okay, perfect. So that's we have broken it down. And now what I'm going to do is that I have typed in URL. It means that in the URL, this is the URL, boss. This is the URL. Okay. This is you're seeing Wikipedia at the this is this. This is the URL. Okay. This is the URL you have in place. So I'm saying in URL search Akshay. Okay. Or I would say in URL search Amit. Let's do that. Okay. So it will be able to find out, see Amit, right? In the URL as well, somewhere down the line. Fine. So that's what we have in Google Docs. What we in Google Docs, what we can do is that we can specify, we can control our search, right? I do not want the garbage. I do not want the celebrity information and those things. I do not want it. I do not want to go to those particular website. I want to find out those particular website where I can get information about my particular target, right? There are multiple combination for it. For that, if you want to serious about it, there is something which is called Google hacking database. You go into it. right? This is Google hacking database. And in Google hacking database, these are the queries. If you just go and type in title index or npm debug.log, it will be providing you a lot of website with these kind of files, right? Okay, with juicy information. You can see file containing juicy information. Juicy information means revealing credentials about a particular person, right? It could be like the social security numbers, particularly we have in USA, right? Your personal identifying information. It will be revealing it up there. Okay, that's what we have in place. So you can see that this is complete we have in place. Okay, so wait a minute. In the first, see, this is it. If I just type site zoom plus meeting plus passcode, I can get file containing juicy information. Let's look into it. Let's see what it is. Okay, okay, so what, let's say for example, let's go into it. Let's see. Let's paste it up there, right? And here it will be providing you, see, zoom meeting password. You click into it and it will be providing you with the zoom meeting password and how you can gather it and all these different website as well. So be very cautious about going to this particular website. Okay, sometimes some of these websites will be definitely for sure would be infected. Fine. Okay, this is a thing we have in place. So using this Google Doc hacking database, what you can do, you can just select these things at the left hand side. Fine. And it will be taking you to these juicy websites in place. Fine. Okay, that's the thing. And you can, using the Google, you can gather a lot of information about your respective target, about your respective organization. All these things you can easily do it up using Google hacking database, or we can also say by the name of Google Docs, right? Very important thing. This is Google Docs in place, right? This is definitely the how the hackers use the particular Google database in place, or Google by they use it. Okay, they do not go normally to a particular Google search engine and type our particular thing that and start looking through the internet. That's not the practically how a hacker you goes through, or by myself never goes that for that particular approach. What we go for it, we type in URL, in the URL or in the title, find out this kind of an information. Let's say for example, if I want to find out a PPT as well, let's say let's also think I want to find out a PPT. Let's do that as well. Okay, it will make it much more clear for you as well. Many people, the corporate world, they find out this particular in title, in your URL, I would say, in URL, I would want to find a PPT or about birds PPT. Okay, so see, I find out a lot of PPTs related to the birds, right? Okay, PowerPoint final, and I can go to these different website where I can get my specific information. Okay, that's the thing. Fine, a lot of things about them. Okay, so this is how you can use it up. Fine, this is something which is called by the name of Google Docs. Okay, now guys, we comes to a very interesting topic which is called social engineering and manipulation. Okay, so have you guys received any sort of a fake calls that's I'm talking from your particular respective bank and your bank has been compromised? Can you please provide us a username or a password or a pin or the OTP? Have you guys ever faced this kind of a scenario, or any text you have received that you have won a lottery, right? And please can click into this link or talk to this particular person and you are good to go. It will be provided to you, right? Correct. That is Yogesh. Correct. Absolutely. Many. I have myself in this week as well, in the previous week as well, received two these kind of malicious calls. Okay. So that's called social engineering. Okay. So what really happens in social engineering is that we manipulate that particular target. We do not completely rely on the technology. The motive is that we will not be hacking into a system. Okay. The main motive is that we want to hack into someone else and mindset, right? I would say hacking a human being and make him do some kind of a stuff that he in normal scenario would not do. Let's say, for example, the best example is of a bank. Okay, so I give you my personal example. In my particular locality, there is a particular old guy, and he's retired. He's almost 50. Okay. So yep. So social engineering, what we happen is that that particular guy who has been from 30 years, he will saving money for his retirement, right, for building up a house. And what it is that he received a bank call from his bank, and he says that bank manager says that, sir or ma'am, and this is this. There is some kind of a breach has been noticed in your particular account. We need to verify whether you are the legitimate owner of that particular website or not. So he was quite frightened because it's his 30 years of hard, saved money. So what he did is that the bank manager tells him that, sir, you can provide us your credentials. In order for you to cross verify, you does not need to come to the bank or to go to any website. All you need to do is that, please tell me your OTP or username, password, bank account, and all this kind of thing. Where is there, right? Okay, that's the thing. Fine. Okay, so now what really happened in this particular scenario is this, that that particular person, that old guy, he was very frightened. Okay, and in that particular scenario, in that particular mentality, he revealed a lot of information, that username, password, right, where OTP that he received in his particular mobile phone, all these things he received. Okay. And within few minutes, he received a message that 50,000 Indian rupees, that's a lot, that deducted from his account. And within a half an hour, it was a message that 10 lakh Indian rupees, that's huge amount, was deducted from his account. Okay. Then he visited a police station, filed a complaint, and then it took the police some time to figure it out and then catch the culprit. But still, you know, it was a very hectic job from him. Okay, so many time he was a lucky guy that his money was the police was able to get his money back. Okay, but many time that's not the case, right? People really get lot lose lakhs of rupees due to these kind of things. That's just a base example of a social engineering attack. So let's go deep dive into it. What's this? So in social engineering, as I told you guys, in this what we do, the social engineering in one line, if you want to explain, the social engineering is the art of manipulating a human being, right? And making him reveal his username, password, OTP, any kind of a thing, right? Any critical credentials through which you can then, as a hacker, then hack into his particular account. That's what we have in social engineering. Okay. So never in your mobile phone or text or a message anyone sends you, never from now onwards, never reply to them. If let's say, what is the best practice that by myself that I use is that, guys, if I get up this kind of a messages, right? Because nowadays what is happening is that these attackers are becoming smart day by day as well. Okay, they are becoming very professional, and to be very frank with you, it is now becoming next to impossible to figure out a legitimate message, a legitimate SMS from your bank from a fraudulent message. It's becoming so difficult nowadays. To be very frank, as a cybersecurity expert myself, I feel it difficult to sometimes categorize which is an actual one and which is a difficult one, because previously, way back in 5 to 6 years back, and more than that, what really used to happen was that you know the hackers was used to do some sort of a mistake. If they send you, or if they send you any sort of an email or a message, SMS, right? They will be doing some sort of a mistake, or some kind of a typo mistake. Okay, all these kind of things they will be able to do. So you can easily see and closely pay attention to that particular message. There was some sort of a grammatical mistake, there was some typos or all these things, and it looks like some, you can say that it looks suspicious. Okay, and it's a red flag, and definitely for sure you should not click into it. Do not click into the link, do not follow the instruction, otherwise you will be in trouble. But nowadays they are becoming very, very tricky. Okay, fine. all these kind of things were there. Okay. So nowadays, let's say for example, today in today's there is an AI world, right? There is after the chat GPT, there are multiple tools that has emerged all across the globe. Some in law fields, some in like photo editing. Okay, many organizations in nowadays are just in a race of building a AI bot, right, for their specific product. Okay, so hackers are using these AI as well, these chat GPTs and all these different tools as well to craft these messages. Okay, and they are so good that even if a cybersecurity expert would be finding it very difficult to figure out whether it's a legitimate or whether it's a fake email. Okay, that's why. So what I do is that if let's say for example I get a receipt, or I let's say for example I receive some sort of a message from my bank account that this is the kind of a transaction being done, or we want to cross verify you, please provide us your OTP or something like that, or someone impersonate himself and says to me that I'm calling from your respective bank and provide me your credential or some at bank transaction or any sort of an information, can you do that? I just absolutely honest face says no, I'm not going to reveal you any sort of a credentials. And if in a query to make sure that this particular person was from a legitimate one or not, I go to my nearest bank branch, and there I talk to the bank manager, okay, or to the senior staff, and says this is the message that I have received 1 or 2 days back, or tomorrow today I have received it. Please verify that this is from your bank. Okay, if it is, then I'm able to whatever the your respective queries are, look into your particular respective database. I will be helping it and providing my credentials in the bank as well to the manager, no issue with it. Okay, but if it's legitimate, then definitely for sure I'm going to ignore it absolutely, and I'm going to block that particular number for sure. Okay, that's the what approach by myself I take. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, so that's what social engineering was. Social engineering was kind of manipulating a human being into doing something which he normally would not be able to doing. Like, okay, and these attackers, what they do is that the attackers use multiple toolbars. They use the tool of fear. Okay, they use the tool of authority. Let's say for another example of giving social engineering of authority, that how they use these attackers used authority, and what they do is that they are able to you know uh, make people do some kind of things which they will not do. Let's say for example, there was one of my friend, right, and it's a story of 2 years back, and he was over speeding, right? The safety limit was 40 in the streets, and he was on 45, but still that you can consider it at over speeding, right? And there are cameras installed, the speed cameras, and what they do is that they catch up a bike. If they figure out that this particular vehicle is exceeding that limit, they will be taking the that photo of your particular number plate, and then based upon your number plate a fine would be submitted. Okay, that kind of thing we have in place. So what really happens, so he was over speeding, and the the time he visited his house, he called a call from the cops that I'm talking from this particular police station, I'm this particular officer XYZ, and we have received a recording from a camera that you were over speeding. Okay, and the fine is 5,000 Indian rupees. That's a lot. So what Okay, so what really happens is that the police person says to him, what going to happen is from now onward, I'm going to come to your house, I'm going to arrest you in front of the public, in front of your relatives, neighbors, parents, everyone. It would be a huge public embarrassment for you. Okay, and then you have to go to the police station, then there would be a proceeding, and then you have to pay 5,000 rupees. It's wastage of, and it's going to take a time, money, efforts, and embarrassment in front of the public. Okay, so that is a scenario. Or another thing that the police person says to him, that right now I'm giving you a number, send me right now 500 rupees, it's a very less amount, send me 500 rupees to this particular bank number, and I'm not going to come to a particular respective house. Okay, so then definitely for sure my friend was so frightened, because the person who was pretending to be a police officer, he was talking in such a authority and such a harsh language, right? okay, that my friend was frightened and he paid a lump sum amount, like 500 or 600 rupees instantly to that particular bank. All right, and after a few days, there was when he just cross verified, he came to know that the call was absolutely fake. Okay, so this is how also how the attackers, you know, uh, manipulate the peoples, right? The tools they use is not some technical tools. The tool they use is of fear, of scarcity, right? That's how your bank account is going to be seized in 10 minutes. We have not able to verify. Can you please provide the credentials? That kind of things, or the power of authority. They will act like they're a police person or a big politician or a big officer in place, and they will be kind of impersonating you, manipulating you that if you do not fulfill a requirement, you are going to be in big trouble for sure. That's the thing we have in place. Okay, so these are the tools that we, let's talk about different kind of social engineering attack we have in place. So as the first is the impersonation, boss. The first is what it is called, the impersonation. In impersonation, what we do in impersonation, hackers, what they kind of hide themselves behind something else. Let's say for example, I send you a message, or let's say for example, tomorrow you receive a friend request in the name of Amit from an Instagram account, right? You, most of you would be having an Instagram account, and your respective Instagram account, you receive a message that okay, Amit, this is this. Sorry, yeah, like you are this, and you are getting a request on Instagram from Amit. Okay, perfect. Now what is going to happen is that, and my DP is there, right? The DP, like my actual DP is there, and you are able to see that okay, it looks like legitimate one. And what you do is that most of you would be selecting it, accepting the request. So what can happen is that in the backend, a hacker or malicious person, what will happen? The malicious person would be impersonating and would be acting like me. Okay, that could be done over the phone, over the social media, okay, over many other platforms. Fine, particularly it's common over the social media and over the call as well. And because in the Instagram there is no other way that you can verify that that particular person who are you talking to or who is in your now your friend list, he's a legitimate one or not. There is no way to figure it out, right? That's what we have in the impersonation. Okay, so remember this thing, whenever there is a data breach happens, right? Let's say for example, like I think 2 or 3 months back, there was a huge you know, data breach of the WhatsApp user. Okay, in that what really happens is their credentials are leaked. Okay, and remember this thing, that once over the internet, always over the internet. Any kind of an information which is present over the internet, it is going there for sure, forever. Fine, that's what we have in place. So when your credentials are leaked to the particular internet, what really happens is that now the attackers can use those credentials and as impersonate as a hacker or as a malicious person we have in place. Okay, so that particular person could be impersonating, right? So that's why this is another thing, very important thing. When your credentials are leaked, someone can use those credentials and use it against you as well, can be impersonating. Okay, that's the thing. Then there's a very another important thing which is called by the name of dumpster diving, right? It is very important, it's very common. Okay, I have done it by myself in my house, right? And my parents were shocked. Dumpster diving. Okay, so dumpster diving means that in short, someone else garbage is my gold. Okay, so let's say for example, most of you has a credit card or a debit card. Okay, so let's say for example, many in time what you do is that when your debit card, credit card, or any kind of a card you have in place, driving license or any of these cards you have in place, like in uh, across the globe, multiple different people have, like in India there is Aadhaar card, right? And in US, I think in US they have some different card as well, right? There is a driving card. Okay, so these cards hold some critical information. Your credit card holds a little, very critical information about you. Most of the time what really happens is that when these cards get expired, people, what they do, they will be just snapping it, those card in between, or they will be just breaking down to 2 3 parts, and then they will be just throwing into the garbage. Okay, and even I've seen that people, they do not just take their card themselves intact and it's expired and they will be throwing into the garbage. That's it. Same goes with the check as well. If you write down a check and sometime what really happens is the check get expired, people take their checkbook, okay, from which you write down the check and just throw into the garbage. That's it. Okay, without destroying it, it's just throwing it into the garbage. Like it's a useless thing. Okay, it has expired, but still hackers can extract information from it, boss. Okay, and forget about that, those credit card and this checklist. Even if, let's say for example, there is Amazon. Okay, Amazon provides some kind of, let's say for example, you purchase something from the Amazon, and it provides you something, and your address, a lot of information are you know pasted over that particular cardboard box. Okay, most of the people, what they do is that they just take out that particular material, whichever they have brought over that particular Amazon, and they throw out that particular garbage, a cardboard box. Okay, where the critical information is still written over that particular box. If And then hackers, what they do is that they will be going through your particular garbage and collecting information about you. Let's say for example, if I'm living next to any one of your house, right, what I'm going to do is that early in the morning I'm going to go for looking into the dustbin, right, or the garbage, or that, that big garbage containers we have in the streets, right? Okay, not for the food part, but for the information. Okay, it looks nasty, but it is look it's very important that you understand it. It can look like, no one will go to the garbage and just start searching for some kind of a critical information, but yes, absolutely, I will love to do that. Okay, now what kind of information I can get from that particular garbage, you can try it by yourself, boss. You can just try it an activity. You can just see that how many things that you throw in the garbage are so critical. Just take a minute and see that, is this kind of information is my personal information. Let's say for example, like, see, password. I give you my real life example as well. When I was not into the field of cybersecurity and I was very new, right? I like think I it was my first week when I was very new to the field of cybersecurity. What really happening was that, boss, I have a habit of writing down my passwords of my Gmail account over my particular sticky notes, right? And after that, what I do is that I just grab the sticky notes, just crush it, okay, and throw it in the garbage. Then one of my seniors, he just used that. He perform. He What he did is that he just go to the garbage, right? Next day, see that there is a sticky note. He just open it up, right, and see that there is a password. He tried to log into my particular account and he was successful in doing that. And that day I learned a lesson, that he was my senior, he was teaching me something. I got that. Okay, but this in a real life could be a very, very catastrophic thing for any organization. Okay, that's why in this big corporate organization, that like Google, Microsoft, Apple, this huge big corporate organization, they have a policy, boss. The policy is that if the hard disk, right? Okay, yeah, let's talk about the hard disk as well. Like, I am talking about the papers and the clips only. Let's say for example, let's talk about the hard disk and the pen drive as well. Let's say there is a hard disk, HDD or SSD, and you have your personal files or a photo, your private photos, okay, or your family members photo in that particular hard disk in place. Perfect, very good. Now what really happens is that now there is some kind of a problem that is arriving in that particular hard disk. You take a backup of it, you purchase a new hard disk, you migrated the data, and the first hard disk which was having some kind of a fault, you formatted it, right? That what the most people do. They attach their particular hard disk or their particular devices to the system, formatted, and then they will just throw it out, right, in the garbage. That's it. But I teach digital forensics as well, okay, and I have worked with police as well in India, and I can make sure you guarantee you that in digital forensics, when you learn digital forensics, you get to know that no data is, that once the data is written in your hard disk or your pen drive, it is never going to be deleted, right? So how are you going to get rid of it? There are certain tools in the market, you use them, and what they will do, they will overwrite your data multiple times, so it becomes next to impossible to retrieve the data. Okay, that's it. Let's say for example, recently 2 3 days back, I was giving one of my hard disk to one of my friend, and my sensitive information was present inside. I take a backup of that particular information, formatted it, and what I did is that there was some kind of a tools I found out of the forensic, and using those tools, those tools enter 1 TB of garbage data into that particular hard disk, and it is complete deep wipe. So now no kind of information can be retrieved from that hard disk. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, yeah, Heather, you can just go over the internet, boss. You can easily find it out. No issue with that. That's not specific. Free of course, you can easily find it out. Okay. Perfect. So, yep. So these kind of things are present here. So you can see in the slide by yourself. And what are the things we have in the dumpster diving? Password can be find out, right? In your office as well. You does not go to the streets and start digging into the in the dustbins. You can just go to your office dustbin as well, and it would look very creepy. But from a security point of view, you will get these kind of things, right? The passwords, right? Many people, trust me, in your organizations, I have seen many people, particularly in the sales and the marketing department, that they have a habit of writing the password or key important topics over a piece of a paper when they're very hurry, right? And what they will do is that after a few minutes they will just crush it up and throw it in the dustbin. That's not a good way. It will, trust me, it will backfire for sure, right? Or let's say, for example, I have worked with the military as well, right? When they want to extract the data from some kind of terrorist organization and this kind of thing, so what they do is that, you know in that kind of a scenario, if you want to extract the data, so what you can do is that you can extract the files and the folders from their particular systems and release those terrorists. No matter how many times that terrorist has, what they did, he has deleted his file multiple times, formatted it. Still, there is a chance. I have worked with police agencies as well as the military. You can extract the data from those kind of tools, right? Those files, the deleted files for sure. Okay. And another thing is that, yep, and military and what they practice, they uses that as well as the polices. Once their hard disk or any kind of device is there and it has not working, the hard disk has failed, okay, and it's of no use. So what they will do is that they will shred that particular hard disk. They will break that particular physical hard disk into multiple pieces physically, right? So that even if someone has an access to it, he will not be able to retrieve any kind of a data from it, right? That's kind of thing I have seen in the Google as well. In the Google, they have a policy in place that if there is a hard disk which they have attached in a respective server, and if that hard disk fails due to any reason, right? Like mechanical reason, virus, ransomware attack, anything reason, they're going to do, they have a big servers, mechanical, I would say, big, these shredding machine, right? You put the particular hard disk, metal hard disk, at one side, and they will be completely, converting into small pieces. Okay, that's the thing. Correct. Okay, so there are shaders for the systems, there are shaders for papers as well. Fine, you should use shaders for your card, this debit card or the credit card as well before throwing it up. That's the thing. So you can see that phone numbers could be figured out from their names, printed email expense report, okay, credit card report, network applications diagrams. This is by myself, I have seen it. Okay, one of my network engineer, junior one, he was has drawn up a network diagram. He was figuring out something loopholes. I've given him a project, and at the end of the day, he just take that particular thing, crushed it and thrown in the garbage. And easily, it was so easy for me to figure it out that thing. Okay, so just go through the office dustbin, and trust me, it looks creepy, but just keep that thing aside. From a security point of view, just start looking into it. Trust me, you will find out lot of things you people are exposing up, right? Okay. So in tailgating, what really happens is that this is also very, very important, very interesting attack, social engineering attack. You will be getting for this, but I will be talking about it, Heather. Okay, I will talk about the CPE points. You will be getting it up for that. Okay, for the participation. Okay, for the tailgating, what really happens is that in the tailgating, malicious persons enter your respective organization. Okay, but the catch here is you are not aware about it. Let's say, for example, any one of you is here, okay, and you are just going to respective organization, and I'm following you up, right? And you are opening the doors for me. That is called tailgating. I am not I am not an employee of your organization. Or let's say, for example, if you give another scenario, I pretend to be a delivery boy. Let's say, for example, I'm pretending, okay, Okay, so let's say for example I am a delivery boy. I pretend to be a delivery boy and I'm just sitting standing, near your office, right? I'm saying that I want to deliver this parcel inside your offices. Okay, and what I say to is that I have credentials, but the credential is like in my pocket. Boss, can you open the door for me? Right, most of you would be doing it. You will saying that okay, that this particular person is, carrying some heavy things, right? And he looks like he's a delivery boy and someone from the office head would, purchase that. So what you will do, right, you will open the door for him. That's called tailgating. When you unintentionally allow a particular malicious person to enter inside the organization, that's called the tailgating. As in the picture, you can see that the first person who is in the red tie, that particular person is a legitimate employee of an organization. He is going to his office, taking his card, swiping through it, and opening up a particular, you can say door, right? But at the end, the particular person just behind him is a malicious person. He's there to steal the data, to encrypt the data, to steal equipment from the organization. Fine. And he is just sliding through the doors and just entering the organization. That is something which is called by the name of tailgating. Then something another tag we have in place, which is called by the name of piggybacking. In piggybacking, let's say for example, what really happens, I am a legitimate employee of InfosecTrain. Okay, but let's say for example I'm not happy with my organization. Okay, or let's say for example I'm working in Microsoft and I'm not happy with my organization. I want to take a revenge of it. What I do is that I want to bring my buddy, okay, to the office who has the expertise of hacking into the systems, right? But he is not an employee of the organization. So how to do that? So what I will do is that I will be performing piggybacking attack in my organization. I will be doing what? I will be, because I'm a legitimate employee of the organization, right? So I have the credentials, username and a password. So what I will do is that I will be taking the credential of my, I will be using my own credentials, opening the door, and I'm going to let my friend enter there. So I'm intentionally letting someone enter the organization. That is called piggybacking. In tailgating, the legitimate employee has absolutely no idea that the malicious person is, following him inside the organization. That's what we have in place. Okay. And piggybacking, I'm intentionally taking someone inside the organization. Okay, to steal the information, to encrypt the data, to do some kind of an attack, those kind of thing in place. Okay, that is something which is called piggybacking. Fine. And multiple things I have seen in the organizations nowadays, that the multiple tools or technique they use in order to get rid of this piggybacking and tailgating. Okay, this is one of the thing which is called by the name of man trap. Okay, there is there to resolve it out. That's the thing. Okay. Now, this one is very common but dangerous at the time. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay. So in shoulder surfing, what is happening is that in shoulder surfing is when someone is just behind you when you are typing your credential, your username and a password. As you can see in this from this diagram as well, there's this lady is entering it. She could be entering anything, like she could be logging into his bank account, his uh, any sort of an account, right? Okay, fine. Okay, so what's going to happen is that this lady could be entering into his bank account or his office account or social networking account. Let's say for example she's entering the credential for his Instagram account or Facebook account, and this man at the bank is just looking and seeing what she's typing. This is shoulder surfing, very common, right? In the ATMs as well. Have you have seen that if there's an ATM in your respective region, in the ATM you have seen that if you are sitting in the ATM, you're just swiping the card or inserting the card, and you're just sort of, just clicking into the buttons for the transaction to happen. You have seen that. I've seen by myself. Many people, they are just standing behind you, and just looking, right? I would not say that all of them are hackers or all they are going to steal my data for sure, but that's particular habit that really annoys me a lot. From the point of view from like from 4 years I'm to this particular field in place, and I'm very cautious now that I make sure that when I'm typing that 4 digit or 5 digit of a pin into my particular ATM account, I'm very cautious that no one is looking into it. I make sure that I hide it out as well. Fine. To resolve this shoulder surfing. Okay, so that's why. So how to resolve the shoulder surfing? How do you resolve it out, right? In the public places, if you have, like, for example, the ATM, there are many multiple people who will be visiting that particular ATM machine, right? Because it's a public property and people will be using it for sure. And there's a huge possibility that I've seen that people stand behind you, right, in kind of a line. Okay, and if you're writing something, they have this particular tendency or a habit that they will be peeping up that, okay, is the transaction done, is the transaction done, and now it's, that, so that now they can, they can use it up for themselves as well. So to resolve it, whenever you're entering that particular credentials, particularly that 4 digit pin or 5 digit pin you have, when you're entering it up, hide it. Okay, just lean forward a little bit and then type it, and then you're good to go. Okay, that's what we have in the shoulder surfing. And one more thing is that if you go to these e-commerce website, right, Amazon particularly, I've seen that there are certain kinds of screen guards you have in place, right? That's a very interesting technology I've seen. I've not used it by myself, but I've seen multiple advertisement through it. So what that particular screen guards promise is that, if, let's say, for example, I am taking the session from my respective laptop, or I have my mobile phone as well, when I'm putting that screen guard over my screen of my laptop, when I'm seeing right, when I'm sitting in front of it, then only will be able to see what it is what it is written, what is being displayed over my screen. If someone from little bit from a different angle, right, next to me looks into the particular screen, he will not be able to see much of a thing. The things would be blurred from him. So I have to look from a specific point to see clearly my screen. If someone just peep through, or he's standing behind my back, okay, or from a different angle, he will not be able to see what is being displayed over my screen. And that's a very, very good thing that I have considered, but I am not using it by myself. Okay, that's it. That's screen guards we have in place. Okay, that's the thing of the total survey. Okay, then we have, which is called by the name of phishing. Okay, now in the phishing, what really happens is that in phishing, hackers, they attempts to steal your sensitive information, particularly like sensitive information could be like your username, your password, your credit card number, your bank account information, right? All these things you have in place. So what they do, they try to steal your particular information in place. Let's say, for example, there is an email address provided by a respective organization, InfosecTrain, to me. Okay, now what really happened, if my credential, my username, and my respective password is compromised, and hacker or someone else has that, now what he can do, he can log into my InfosecTrain website and can be pretending Amit, and then can send a fake or a malicious or abusive message to one of my colleagues or my senior management. And due to that, I could be in big trouble for that. That's called the phishing, an attempt to steal sensitive information, particularly in the form of username, password, credit card number, bank account information. Okay, all these kind of things, right? Particularly, I would say your PII, personal identifier information, right? That's considered. Now there is another thing, an interesting thing, or I would say even a subcategory of a phishing, which is called by the name of spear phishing. Spear phishing we talk about when we target a specific group. Let's say, for example, I want to target only, I want to send a fake email message, right, with a link that's, if the employee clicks into, a virus gets uploaded into his respective account, right? But my target is only, I want to target, let's say, for example, infosec employees. Okay, so that is called spear phishing. It is phishing, but what really happens is that I am specifically targeting a specific group, a group or a specific organization. In this case, the organization is InfosecTrain. So I'm specifically targeting InfosecTrain in this particular scenario. That is called spear phishing. In normal phishing, it is randomly. I'm sending random email or random messages with links, right, to multiple peoples without, irrespective of their profession, irrespective of their location, irrespective of the region where they are in. I'm do not worrying about it. But in spear phishing, I'm thinking that okay, this is an organization XYZ, Apple, Microsoft, Google, whatever it is, or let's say in the case of infosectrain.com, infosectrain, I want to uh, attack into it. I want to send a malicious message to all these members of the infosec train, from the sales department, from the sale, from the finance, sales, marketing, IT. Okay, in IT also we have multiple departments like the red team, blue team, right? The cloud part as well. Okay, all these things we have in place. So that's called the spear phishing, when you are targeting a specific group of people or an organization. Okay, that's called the spear phishing in place. Okay, but you have to remember, you have to gather a lot of information about these individuals in place. If you want to target a Microsoft employees and want to send them a lot of information, a lot of fake emails to the Microsoft employees, right, that's called the spear phishing. But you have to use, trust me, lot of tools, lot of footprinting you have to do in order to craft the email in a such a way that you are not caught, right? That's what we have in spear phishing. Then we have another interesting attack, which is in social engineering, which is called by the name of whaling attack, right? And in this kind of a whaling attack, what really happens is that the phishing, okay, phishing is for the general, while the spear phishing is for the particular. Perfect. Okay. Now in spear phishing, in whaling, what we do is that it is for the CEO, CTO, high profile individual. When, let's say, for example, if you heard about, like, many of the time, there is a celebrity, okay, or there is a politician, his account get hacked. Okay, and when there is an investigation did that how the account was hacked, there is a huge probability that the politician or the famous celebrity or the influencer clicked on a link, right? So that time we say that that particular person was victim of whaling. In whaling, what we do is that attacker send you fake messages, but specifically targeting high and top executive position, the CEO, CTO, right? CISO, all these things. Okay, when top profile people of a community, of a government, or of an organization are targeted, the CO, CTO, that's called the whaling. And it's pretty complicated, but if you are successful in doing that, if I'm, let's say, for example, I'm Satya Nadella is the CEO of the Microsoft right now, okay, and I want to perform a phishing attack specifically upon that particular person, that will be called the whaling, because he is a CEO of the Microsoft. Okay, so I have, if I'm successful in doing that, I'm sending him an email, and he click into an email, and then at the end and just below it there would be a link, and you click into it and a malware downloads into the system. And using that particular malware, what I can do is that now I can spy upon him. I can i can you know i can steal a lot of information about it, right? Definitely that's not a good thing, but that's the reality of today's world. Those kind of things happen, right? If you just go to the internet, there are plenty of their articles where this is the thing, how things spread. This is how the systems of these big COs, CTOs, high profile people get compromised. Okay, okay, that's what we have in place. That's called the whaling part. Then comes the wishing, and I'm guaranteeing you guys that, okay, I'm guaranteeing you that most of you have gone through this particular wishing part. In wishing, what we have is that in wishing, we it is in this particular, what really happened, the social engineering is done over the phone call, right? Let's say, for example, I give you another example of the wishing is that you get a call from, let's say for example, tomorrow from the InfosecTrain, and then they says to you, so ma'am, that you have registered to InfosecTrain for this particular webinar, okay, of offensive security, and this is the thing we are providing as well, which is also free of cost, and this is the link. You click into that particular link and your system is now compromised. That was what? That was phishing. Okay, when someone was manipulating you over the phone call, right? That the OTP would be present there, sir, or your bank has been compromised, or this has been done, right? Can you please follow the steps that I'm telling you? It will be very beneficial for you. That is called Vishing. It means voice phishing, right? When a hacker is making manipulating you over a phone, that you perform certain kind of a task, and he is beneficial, he gets the benefit from that. Okay, that's the thing. That's why, if first of all, never pick up a unknown number if you're not, like for example, I teach multiple students. Okay, this kind of a problem that I see by myself as well. Most of the time what really happens is that if many of my student is there and he's calling me from an unknown number, there's a huge possibility I will not be picking it up. Why? To In order to mitigate this phishing part. That's why I keep on telling my students as well that SMS me, that's a good option. Okay, you message me, that's Amit sir, I'm this is this, right? I want to urgently talk to you. I will be calling from my side, no issue with that. But if I receive an unknown phone number, I'm never going to reply it, or I'm not going to pick it up for sure. Okay, that's one of the thing I have in place for the phishing part. Then it's called the smishing. In smishing means, as the image by itself tells, it talks about phishing over the eh, SMS, right? It means that you are going to get fraudulent SMS over your particular phone in place, right? That's what we have in called the smishing, fraudulent SMS that you get in place. That, sir, there is a lottery that you have that you have won, right? It's a $50,000 or this dollar or this much of a money. Here's a huge amount of money, right? And you have to register or click into this particular link or call into this particular link or provide us your bank account or credential, all these kind of things, and you are good to go. Fine. Recently, I think 2 or 3 days back, I received a message over my WhatsApp, right? And there was a guy, and he was saying to me that if you want to earn some, 10,000 Indian rupees, right, in a day, okay, the best thing is that I will be providing you some YouTube links, right? And you just go there, click, comment, yes, okay, and like that, and 2 3 videos you have to do that on a daily basis, and every day you will be getting 10,000 Indian rupees. And I think that, okay, this is completely pure scam, right? If there is a free money, there is a scam. We have absolutely for sure, right? Remember it always. If you want to, you know, protect yourself from these kind of a scam, remember this thing. That's the thing. Okay, so best thing is that, and these things, these scams target vulnerable people, those people who has lost their job, right? Or they are unemployed, or they are not aware about this, particularly older people, senior citizens. That's what we have in place, so they attack those individuals in place. So, right, so never click on these kind of links and all this kind of thing, right? That's what a smishing is. Fine. Then what we have a very interesting attack also, which is absolutely, yes sir, yes Michael, smishing is for the SMS. Okay, then we have another one which is called by the name of typosquatting, right? In typosquatting, guys, what we have in place is, in typosquatting, as you can see that the out of all these things that you're seeing in front of your screen, only the third one, the Google google.com, is the correct, right, domain name. If you type the google.com, this exact same, with the same exact spelling, what is going to happen is that it will be you will be redirected to a legitimate Google website. It's correct. Fine. Perfect. Okay. Other than that, you can see that all the first, second, as the fourth and the fifth are quite familiar. Okay. Because what really happens is that they attack the unemployed because that they are in a desperate need for a job. Let's say for example, what can happen is that if there's an unemployed particular person and he is not getting a job, right, or he has just recently lost a job. So what really happens is that unemployed can be someone who has recently lost his job. He could have some kind of a saving in his bank account, that could be also called an unemployed, because currently he's not having a job, but he has a 10 years of experience working in a particular sector, that calls to be unemployed, right? Okay, or there could be a graduate who has just passed out from the college, right? uh, so what he will be doing is that he gets an opportunity, and someone's targets him, that's a there's a scheme going on, that there is, something like that, in a bank or something, there is a scheme, you just submit some kind of a money, and within 6 or 7 months the money would double. That's kind of thing I've seen. That stupidity we think, but I've seen people falling into it part, right? Okay, so what really happened is this, that yeah. So what can happen in this particular scenario is this, that so yeah, so let's go back to the typo squatting part. So in typo squatting, what we have this different domain in place. ISAC, no, it is not, it cannot be prevented through it. Okay, yep, it's pretty complicated. So what really happened in this particular scenario is that multiple domains are there, right? Okay, in a simple language I'm telling you that but attackers, what they do, they make it much more complicated. Okay, it's not simple as that. But what right now, what I'm trying to tell you is that when you do, what the attackers will be doing is that they will be creating multiple websites, fine, exactly like Google or Facebook or the Instagram. And then what is going to happen here is this, they would be having, like, say for example, Google has gogle.com. Okay, look for the, okay, Ashray, look for the, if you want to validate for the URL, you look for the digital certificate in place. That's why I told you, right? If you want to verify whether the URL is legitimate or not of a website, go for the digital certificate. Okay, that's what the digital certificate is all about, for the authentication purposes, right? To verify that this particular website is a legitimate one. Okay, so yeah, so this, see, you can see that these hackers has trademarked, or you can say brought purchase the domain related to the Google. So any particular person, he just typed in a hurry, instead of G O, he typed U and O gl.com, right? Exactly like same thing, except O, he has written U, and he is in big trouble now. Fine. That is a perfect example of something which is called by typo squatting.